Can y'all see that? 1040.
Page 2.
Yeah, page 2. This is a 1040 typical tax return. It's a U.S. individual income tax return. So this form is specifically for a U.S. individual. So let me ask you in here, y'all, who's a U.S. individual in this meeting? Somebody can somebody tell me if they're a U.S. individual? Nobody's
No,
a U.S. individual.
no.
Okay, so if you fill this out, you're saying you're a U.S. individual. And because you're saying you're a U.S. individual, you agree that to the amounts you put, any numbers you put on here, you're certifying that they're true and correct. And if they're not true and correct, if you deceive, lie, or anything, they say right here. I'm trying to highlight, but they ain't trying to let me highlight. There you go. That under penalties of perjury, I declare that I have examined this return and accompanying schedules and statements, and to the best of my knowledge and belief, they are true, correct, and complete. So, what does under penalties of perjury mean? Let's look it up. Under penalty perjury, let's go meaning. Signed under penalty of perjury is a legal declaration stating that the contents of a written document are true to the best of the signer's knowledge and that the signer will face criminal charges for perjury if the statement is proven false. It serves as an unsworn alternative to taking an oath in court or before an official, allowing for the same legal weight to be given to the declaration. The declaration is often printed on forms, includes a statement like, I declare under penalty of perjury under the laws of the United States that the foregoing is true and correct. So, of course, when I teach you guys to sign, you sign under the laws of the United States of America, not United States, because you're signing without the United States. You see? But so that means anything you do with that form, you're saying, hey, you can get me if you think I lied. You could charge me with a crime. So even if someone prepared the tax return, because you're saying that you read it, it don't matter who did it, you're still responsible for whatever happens. Okay? So basically, when you sign, they put the unsworn declaration. Let's pull up the unsworn declaration. Because in the unsworn, it says if executed without the United States, you say I declare or certify or state under penalties of perjury under the laws of the United States of America. But if it's in the United States, you'll say, if executed, I declare under penalty of perjury that the foregoing is true and correct. So look at that. Look at that. See how they got you? See how they got you? Because this is saying, when you say it this way, you're signing it under penalty of perjury within the United States. Let me show you again. They put the unsworn declaration in the tax return, in any of their documents, that you're signing within the United States. They put the number 2 on. So if you're going to actually do a tax return, I would I would alter that part and change it to without the United States if you're going to do one. But once again, the 1040 is for a U.S. individual. It didn't say individual. It says U.S., a United States individual. So you haven't done it for 10 years, most likely they're not going to bother you because you have not volunteered to be in that system for 10 years. Usually, if you don't do a tax return, they usually come after you within 3 to 5 years. I've known people who haven't done a tax return 20 plus years, no problems. More people get in problem with doing taxes is because they did the tax return than they do not doing it, because you never agreed or contracted with them under any penalties of perjury. So when they try to say, well, we need to assess you, we're going to do your tax return for you, and this is what you owe us, I didn't agree with that. Because ain't I supposed to be? So when they do an assessment, think about this. When they do an assessment on you, this here says that you examined it and you declare it's true. So when they try to do an assessment and you agree to it, you're agreeing that you know that's right. But if you don't agree to it, no, I don't owe anything. That's something you made up. And to be honest with you, they really don't know what your taxes are until you actually do them. Even if people are putting 1099s with your number on it, they really don't have a surefire way to know exactly what those numbers are, because they all based on voluntary reporting. And what if somebody misses the digits and uses your number for some money that you never even earned? See all of the issues that's involved there? This is why disputing them and fighting them is the way to go, because they have the burden of proof to prove their case. You don't have to prove it for them. Say, listen, hey, okay, well, you said this, prove it. Show me in your records that that's true. And if you ever been in an assessment, they always their first line of question is to get you to agree that this happened. Oh, did you make money over here? Did you do this? Is this yours? You see them saying that? Oh, yeah, I did. I worked for them. And then you start talking. That's why you don't talk to them. All right. Any questions on that?
Yeah. So, I've crossed the 70 mark.
Right.
And, to be blindsided with, look, what about this here later on? I'm, up in age and have to go through a lot of rigmarole with the IRS. I
Like
just want
what specifically?
Well, I haven't
Or
dealt
is
with
this
this.
just an anticipation thing?
Yeah, just
Okay.
anticipating,
This is what I will say to you about anticipation. Stop anticipating the people to come bother you, because if you do, you putting that out there in the ether, in the universe, it's going to happen. You know you're a magnet for whatever you're thinking. Peace, what's up? It is October the 5th, 2025. The man-made date, the fake dates that man has created for you to be distracted away from your spiritual practices, your knowing your exact astrological designation according to the universe. They changed up the dates by at least 1,000 years. Well, 1,000 years ahead and some. However, knowing this, we must rely totally 100% on the Spirit of God that lies within us. Because we don't know these other teachings that we're getting. We don't know. How am I sounding though? Let me make sure I'm coming through loud and clear. Before I go on, because I named this particular broadcast The One. I just need a heads up. Somebody text me, say my sound is good. I don't want to get into it and say what I have to say because we're going to talk about the one. The One. You guys heard this title before. If you're old enough, you've heard that title, The One. The number one goal of this current society is to take you away from your true identity. You are in a spiritual conflict. He said a little bit higher in volume. I am higher in volume. Let me see. Turn it up. Oh no. There we go. I'm just going through my channels here. All right, somebody said I was great, so we're gonna go with that one. So I titled this The One. Hang on. What's going on here? I titled this The One because you are the one. We all are the one. And there was a movie. Hang on, let me close out this thing here. There was a movie years ago with Jet Li called The One. And the basis of this movie, or the plot of the movie, was Jet Li was this bad guy who, you remember, coming from multi realities. That was one of the first movies that I recall that talked about the multiverse or multi realities. I don't recall exactly how they defined that in that movie. So Jet Li was coming to different realities and killing himself. He would come to a reality. The stronger Jet Li would come to a weaker reality and kill his counter ego. And he would kill them. So, and what happened every time he killed one, he would get stronger. So remember, I told you guys last week to do this meditation where you picture yourself. Let's just say you want a lots of money. You picture yourself as a wealthy person, billionaire, whatever. You envision that for yourself. Then also at the same time, envision yourself in your current state or your poverty mindset state. And you take the wealthy self, kill off the poverty mindset self. So I've been practicing that. And then I realized there are some, I'm saying drawbacks, but I don't think I'm using the right word. There is some consequences to doing that. Because when you mentally visualize yourself in one state of being that you want to be and visualize yourself in the state of being that you don't want to be, and you take that stronger self that you want to be strong and kill that one off. I mean, really take it out. You're really doing that. It really works, but it has consequences. Because as you take on the persona of this wealthier person or whatever you're choosing to for yourself at that moment, and you take that person out, you start to become hyper aware of certain things. Makes you very sensitive to people who have poverty mindsets, and you become repulsed by that. To me, that's a good thing. So I don't think because I had just started practicing, I didn't realize that that was a consequence. And you like that old you that you killed off, and you becoming this new one. You envision like you start to get repulsed by anyone or anything that is opposite of this reality you're currently in for yourself. So just be mindful of that, okay? That's the consequence. Of course, the movie painted Jet Li, the strong one, as a villain. But when you think spiritually about it, you think deep into it, he was not the villain. Because it's really, this is the thing we need to do in order to achieve our highest possible state of being. I saw something, I watched a little video, and the guy said, very simply, he put, in order to go to sleep, you must first pretend to be asleep. I'll say it again. In order to fall asleep, you must first pretend to be asleep. And then he also said, it works that way with everything in life. Before you can become something, you must visualize yourself as it in this moment or in this now. So pretending, visualizing, not only just pretending, but feeling it like as if it's real now. It works. It works. I'm telling you, it works. And it works faster than you might imagine. Because I know what y'all thinking, well, how long it take? That's so, you know, the intellectual mind, the egoic mind always want to know how long. There's no such thing as how long. There's no such thing as time. So the minute you identify with how long, meaning you have just identified with the fact that you don't have it. Because you're looking for it in some time space continuum in the future that never comes. The future never comes. Never comes. It's never here. It's just an idea that the future is coming. And of course, the past is what happened, that you keep transforming yourself back to that time. But let me read the scripture. It is 1 Corinthians chapter 3, verse 16. It says, do you not know that you are God's temple and that God's spirit dwells in you? Do you really know that? Do you really believe that? Do you accept that? Because if right now you're suffering from any type of anxiety, any type of disappointment, depression, or anything like that, you're not understanding, then you're not recognizing the spirit of God that dwells in you and the power that comes with that. Because what you're recognizing, if you're feeling depressed, is the hopelessness. I wish it was better. I don't like the way it is. I don't like the way my life is going. I'm feeling a certain way. I'm not feeling great. These are the I am statements that you're calling out. Until we understand that we're doing ourselves in, that we're the ones who are doing harm to ourselves by how we interpret and how we navigate our feelings and our experiences. You see? We are experiencing exactly what we choose to experience. And if you or your default experiencing things is always negative, that means you are on automatic negative attraction. You put that on automatic. Why? Because, of course, I understand, you know, through our life experience, we experience things and then we get harmed, and then we become cautious, and then we become unforgiving. We become suspicious of things based off our last experience. So we relive our last experience into the current experience. I believe we all are guilty of that. And then we never fully appreciate the current experience for what it really is bringing us, or what is really showing us at that moment. I'll read it again. Do you not know you are God's temple and that God's spirit dwells in you? If anyone destroys God's temple, God will destroy that person, for God's temple is holy and you are that temple. So if anyone destroys you, even you will have some problems. So basically, in essence, the problems you're getting is from your own hand by not recognizing the true God, the God power within you. And that no problem is really a problem, is just a perception and a way of looking at it and how to overcome and navigate it. Many people in this world have come from what we determine the very bottom, and then next thing you know, they're filthy rich. Sometimes that's what it takes to go all the way down, get cut all the way down in order to come way up. The greatest thing about this life is things change. So if things are not good right now, they will change eventually. But a lot of times they don't change until you change your mind, until you change the way you see things. Instead of seeing it as a problem, seeing it as a process. Appreciating the current situation, no matter what it is. See, that's true elevation. That's true spirituality. When you could walk through a minefield of problems and still have a positive mindset towards it. And not allow those problems to make you bitter, angry, or retreat and give up. And one of the bigger problems that we have is our relationships. We have relationship with people and they do things that are not right. Because yes, people do things that are not right. And still be able to forgive and move on. Let me clear up something about forgiving. The very first person you need to forgive is yourself for involving yourself in a situation before you can forgive anybody else. I would say this. You forgive yourself. But forgiving doesn't mean that you can let that person back in to harm you again. That's not what forgiveness is. Put yourself back in harm's way in some form or fashion by the people who have done you wrong. Forgiveness is forgiving yourself, saying, I take responsibility. I chose to be in a relationship or connect with this person, and this is what they did. Doesn't mean I forgive. Oh, come on, let's be friends and kumbaya. No, hell no. Let them be over there with their negative stuff and you be over here building yourself. I think some people get it wrong. Oh, you got to forgive them. You got to talk to them. You got to hang out. No, you don't. You don't. Because if that person hasn't grown enough to realize the harm that they caused in your life, then you're going to be doing the same thing over and over. This is why, relationships keep repeating the same pattern, because the pattern is you're allowing yourself to forgive and try to keep that person in your proximity. No, just get rid of that spirit. Because there's people roaming around just being selfish and don't care about anybody else but what they want and harming people. And here you are trying to be Miss Forgive or Mr. Forgive. No. The only person you owe forgiveness to is yourself. Let's not get it twisted. for allowing yourself to be brought down into those positions. Y'all know who I know. Somebody hearing what I'm saying. Because you're sitting there struggling. I can't forgive them. I can't. You're struggling. The reason why you're struggling, because that's not where you need to be looking. You need to be looking within yourself and forgive you. Work on that forgiveness. And then you'll be able to navigate forgiveness with other people. Because you can't do for someone else that you are not able to do for yourself. You can't love someone else if you don't love yourself. You can't forgive someone else until you forgive yourself. Forgiveness starts with you. And when you forgive, you forget that person ever existed. That's forgiving and forget. And move on. Oh, not the preacher telling people forget people. Yes. Because people are not growing. If they're not growing and you see these same patterns in person, why would you go involve yourself with these people? Now, if these people come back change and they're doing better, that's great. You're doing better for yourself. Have a nice day. Because why do you keep triggers around you? Because that's a trigger. Because what's going to happen? Ain't nobody that strong to be in the midst of people who have done them wrong and not be triggered by them. Bad association spoils useful habits. All right. I'm going to say it again. Do you not know that you are God's temple and that God's spirit dwells in you? This is one of the reasons why you have to worry about revenge on nobody. Because if you're a good person generally and you're doing good and anybody harms that good within you, all of that's coming. They're going to experience that. With the pain they've inflicted on you, they're going to experience it in so many ways. Everybody gets rewarded for their actions. Right now, in this moment, we're all receiving a reward for our actions. In some form or fashion. We're always getting rewarded for our actions. We're always getting rewarded for our thoughts. Every second of if you want to count, every now we're getting rewarded for the things we've done. So that's why you must be conscious of the God in you and let that show in your life. The wisdom of the world is foolishness with God, for it is written, he catches the wise in their craftiness. And then and again, the Lord knows the thoughts of the wise, that they are futile. So let no one boast about human leaders, for all things are yours. See, that's another thing. People are looking for Trumps. People are looking for some other administration to do this and that. I go with this guy because of that. You don't know what those people's motivations are. How about going with the God in you? And let that be your motivation and determination of your success. Who cares what they do? So back to the movie, The One. So he's killing off all of these versions of himself. To make him, every time he does it, he's getting stronger and stronger and stronger. And then at the end, it shows him all of the different versions of him coming for him because he's at the top of this, I guess, a pyramid, something like that, if I remember correctly. But if you pay attention to the movie, that's the journey. That's the process you're going through. Getting rid of the poverty version. Getting rid of the anger version. You're getting rid of the one with lack of love for self version. Getting rid of the selfish version. One thing at a time. See, the thing is, I think sometimes we struggle. We try to do everything at once. If you got an issue with selfishness, work on that. And then move on. Don't try to do it all at once. Kill off that version. So for a good 7 days, you gotta, let's just go back to the poverty. You got a poverty version, good 7 days. Visualize yourself killing off the poverty version of yourself for a good 7 days. Then the next week, move on to another version. You master that. But as you're visualizing, say you did poverty, you got poverty, I'm wealthy. So now you're wealthy and you're loving. So you work on the loving and build it up in combination of when you start off with one, and then that new version is going to add on characteristics. It's going to be wealthy, loving, not selfish, patient. Anything you can think of that you would want to improve on. Not fearful, strong, powerful. Just add on. Next thing you know, you have a version of you that's virtually, consciously, spiritually Superman. How many of y'all gonna try that? How many of y'all gonna try it? How many y'all gonna try it? Waiting on the chat. I'm actually sitting here trying to send my son a load we just got. Daily practice. I ain't gonna hold y'all too tight. You are the one, and God's spirit lies in you, dwells in you. It's a dweller. You're a dwelling place for the Spirit of God. I was looking at my favorite. Let's see if I could find it just by flipping through here. Did y'all know, they, just to kind of take a side road here, that when they hung our ancestors from trees, they were cursing us, according to their Bible? It's a little subject. I'm going to read something. It says, Christ redeemed us from the curse of the law by becoming a curse for us. For it is written, cursed is everyone who hangs on a tree. So not only were they trying to destroy us, they were trying to keep us cursed. Because it was a law that anyone who hangs on a tree is cursed. In order that Christ Jesus, the blessing of Abraham, might come to the Gentiles so that we might receive the promise of spirit through faith. Ain't that something? It's right here in the Bible. But I was looking for something else. Is that the right one? Oh, you know what? I think it's here. Maybe I'm not meant to read it today. So when they were hanging your ancestors from those trees, They knew exactly what they was doing. Such evil people. But guess what? That evil is coming back to haunt them. That's why you have to worry about nothing right now, because remember, what you put out, you get back. They gonna get it. They are getting it. They are getting it. They getting it. I'll read it next week. Is what I was looking for. It's not exactly where I thought it was. But remember this. Always think about good things. The best of you. The alternative is not an option. It's not an option. Because if you take that option, you're going down a dark road. That is hard. You know, it's so much harder to come out and recover from thinking negatively. So much harder. All right. I'll read this though. And I think it's in one of my webinars. It says, these things God has revealed to us through the Spirit, for the Spirit searches everything. The Spirit searches everything. That's why you must put the Spirit first. Look from your spiritual eye, not your physical eye. For the Spirit searches everything, even the depths of God. For what human being knows what is truly human except the human spirit that is within? Let me read that again. For what human being knows what is truly human except the human spirit that is within? So also, no one comprehends what is truly God's except the Spirit of God. Now we have received not the spirit of the world, but the Spirit that is from God, so that we may understand the gifts bestowed on us by God. We all have gifts that's been bestowed on us, but you got to come from a spiritual awareness. And we speak of these things in words not taught by human wisdom, but taught by the Spirit, interpreting spiritual things for those who are spiritual. That's why I know sometimes when I say some people just lost. Now, spiritual things don't necessarily have to be something that's coming out of the Bible or some religious book. Spiritual things could just be some knowledge or awareness that you came into, like when I explained the thing with a national that owes allegiance to a state, permanent allegiance to a state. People without spirituality don't even know what I'm saying when I say that. They think I'm talking about an actual state or something physical. And then they'll comment on things. Well, it's not this, because they not spiritual. You don't have to debate these people either. Those who are unspiritual do not receive the gifts of God. Gifts of God's Spirit, for they are foolishness to them, and they are unable to understand them because they are spiritually discerned. Those who are spiritually discern all things, and they are themselves subject to no one else scrutiny. This is why it says, put forth the kingdom of heaven first, then all these things are added to you. You must be coming from a spiritual awareness at all times. You see? Keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. All right. Someone said, I'm with you. We find ourselves repeating the same mistakes and afraid of letting go. Right. And one of the biggest things we're afraid of letting go, people. Those are the biggest demons in our life, people, and their bad things that they like to do for their own selfishness, no matter how it's treating you. And then negative thoughts is always the battle, always tries to dominate your thoughts, never ending fight. You gotta dismiss them as soon as they come. Peace. Indie Circus says, peace, my brother. Hearts and strong arm. I guess that's how you interpret that. Peace, everyone. Hindsight Brady said peace. Yep. All right, with that being said, I'm out. I think I gave y'all enough to work on. I'm gonna go watch that movie, The One, and see how I can spiritually discern that movie. With that being said, peace, prosperity, extreme wealth to all. Y'all have a good day.